B.S.Abdur Rahman University, earlier known as B.S.Abdur Rahman Crescent Engineering College.
Hi there, I am Catherine Annapushpam, Assistant Professor of English at B.S.Abdur Rahman University, and today we are going to learn about email writing. Now, in the previous classes we have learnt about business correspondences, and as a part of that we are going to learn about writing an email. Email writing has become an important crux in the business world, and for most of us as students here, you may not think that it is so very important. It could be just like forwarding some messages or just sending some information or sharing some study materials or anything. And I suppose all those people who are having an email ID are not really using it to the full extent. And I also have found that many of the students use an email ID just to open your Facebook account. So, in such cases, after your 4 years of study in a college, you are just going to enter into a business or a workplace environment, and you would be wondering how email has become suddenly so very important. Hence, you should know how to write an email and how to send and receive emails. So, in today's class, you will be looking at the components of an email and how to write those emails using formal or informal language. In English, of course. And so, I suppose everyone knows the layout of an email. You would have seen all these things on your screen. Alright. The to bar is to type the address of the recipients, the receivers of the emails. We can call them recipients. And to my knowledge, I think we can add as many email IDs that we require to send the email. But is it right to do so? We have to think about it. So, you can type as many email IDs, but you can also make use of the CC and BCC. When do you use a CC? A CC is a carbon copy, as you all know, and a carbon copy, if you have looked at a carbon sheet, they use it in shops, in places where they give you bills, when they enter it manually, and those carbon copies are kept there where they give you the original bills and they keep back the other copy of it, which is not actually of any use to them, but it is only a reference that they have sold out certain aspects, certain things or products there. So, the same thing is used here as a CC. When you are sending it to the intended recipients, you actually type the name or the mail IDs of those people on the to bar. But if you want to keep certain people in the loop of your communication, that is when you use the CC, where these people do not have to really act upon your mail, but they receive those emails just to keep them informed about what is happening. And now coming to BCC, it is blind carbon copy, and as the name suggests, the term suggests, it is used when you want to send bulk emails. And when you are sending it to hundreds of people, you do not want all the people to get to know other people's email ID, because it is intrusion of their privacy. So, in such cases, you have to make use of BCC. You should respect their privacy, and you do not want somebody else using or misusing somebody others mail IDs. So, it is better and advisable that you use BCC there. Now, coming to the subject line, as you all have learnt letter writing, email writing is more or less the same as letter writing. So, when it comes to subject line, we know the subject should reflect whatever content that you have written inside the letter or an email here. Now, how would you make your subject line reflect the content? Just take the gist of it. If you want to say in your email that you want to convene a meeting for a particular group of people at a particular date and a time, so your subject would be meeting on, with the date over there, maybe also the time, 10 a.m. Now, when you send with a subject line and a proper subject line, people actually open your email and see that. You all would have known or noticed that your inboxes are always full. And there are lots and lots of emails that we don't have time to open and read. If that is the case for you and me, I am sure it is the case for everyone in this world. So, you should be really very careful when you are sending your email to get the attention of the reader to open your mail and see. Hence, a subject line, a proper and appropriate subject line is advisable. Now, let's move on to the content. I told you it's just like a letter. So, you should have a salutation. Here, if you are going to talk about meeting and you are going to send to all the faculty members, to all staff or anything, then your salutation could also be dear all. This is fine. Or if you are going to send to only certain individuals, then you can use their name, dear Mr. or dear Miss, depending upon the relationship you have with that person. If that person is going to be your superior, I would say you have to use their name. But if that person is a colleague of yours, a close friend of yours, then you can say hi. So, email writing, people are really torn between whether to use a formal language or an informal language. I would say both are good, but you should choose a proper format of language when depending on the person to whom you are sending. So, if it is your superior, I would say you should use only the formal language. If it is your subordinate or your colleagues, you can use an informal term. So, after you have written the salutation, you have to move down to the next line and you have to give the details over there. So, about the meeting, you will give the details, where it is to be held, the venue is also important, and never use vague terms like today, tomorrow, all these, or yesterday, because emails can be opened anytime. You might have sent the email in the middle of the night and the person would be opening it only the next day or the next day morning or afternoon. In such cases, if you are going to say today, I really do not know what you mean by today or tomorrow. So, please be specific. When it comes to writing anything, ABC of writing has to be kept in mind. Accuracy, brevity and clarity is required very much here. So, you give the specific date and the time when it comes to writing an email, and that would save a lot of time for all the people around you. And when it comes to writing or typing an email, you have to be careful with the structure of typing it, because you cannot say when you write it on a paper you use the proper punctuation and capitalization, but I have seen that many people do not follow the same when it comes to typing an email. You should never forget whether you type or you write, the language used is just the same. So, all the sentences should start with a capital letter, and for that case you cannot keep your caps lock on and type everything in capital letters, which is really very rude. And so, you have to use appropriate punctuation and capitalization. Keep that in mind when you do that. And finally, when it comes to the close of the email, that is your complimentary close, you can use sincerely. It's also, once again, it depends on to whom you have written. So, if you are going to write to your superior and you are going to say dear sir, then you would end it by saying sincerely. And if you are going to write to your colleagues or your subordinates, then you can begin with hi and hello or dear all and all those things, and you can end with saying warm regards or regards or best wishes, all these. But your name should be written below the mail, because your email ID may differ from your name, and hence you need to give your name down below. So, in today's class we have learnt the components of email writing and the language and structure of writing an email. Thank you. We will see the other business correspondences in the next class.